Hey everyone, welcome back to the Val Coffee Supply channel where we help you make better coffee at home. Today, we're going to be talking about dialing in, mostly like the fundamentals of how to dial in your coffee to get it to taste great. And looking down here, you might say, Cody, what the heck is that? That looks suspicious. Some kind of weird, freaky science experiment. Wink. It's not, it's just coffee. Don't worry about it. Now, when we're talking about dialing in specifically, there are a lot of different variables that you can kind of mess with to get the desired effect, that like really, really great cup every time. And dialing in is something you'll probably have to do with each bag of coffee that you get, each new bag, because there will be variances in roast a lot of the time, or there are always a lot of variables in coffee. But if we're gonna live by any rule at all, there is one rule in coffee, and that there's kind of no rules in coffee. Can I help you? Hey, hello. Hey, ma'am, I'm trying to shoot a video here. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Ma'am, do you have anything to say? Hey, ma'am. Okay, so it's not technically true that there are no rules. It's just really important to understand that coffee makes no sense, and sometimes it breaks its own rules. I know that doesn't make any sense to you, but it's also true. Anyway, let's talk about grind setting. Here I've got an example of different grind settings. On the left here, we've got a very, very fine grind. So this is something that you'd find closer to an espresso grind. So much so that it's even like clumping together. In the middle, we have something that's kind of closer to what we do for our origami, or you'd find in many drippers, like hand pour over drippers. And then way over here on the right is a very, very coarse grind. You wouldn't really do this for many drippers, but I know a lot of people do something close to this for like a cold brew. Now, something that was passed down to me when I was being trained on dialing in is, has really stuck with me for a long time. And it's that water is lazy. So water is gonna take the path of least resistance. For example, say you have like a jar of sand and a jar of stones. If you pour water into a jar of stones, it'll just pass right through and fill the cup up really quickly. However, if you pour water into a jar of sand, it'll move really slowly through the sand because there's much more resistance. There's a lot like finer, smaller space for the water to actually move through to get to the bottom of the glass. And the same works with the bed of coffee that you are brewing in. So what does that even mean for like us as we're brewing coffee? Well, what it comes down to is the amount of time that the water and the coffee are actually in contact with each other. That is going to change very drastically how it is extracted. So for example, if you've got a very coarse grind setting over here and you pour water over it, it's gonna pass straight through and it's not actually gonna contact the coffee long enough to draw out anything that you want. It's gonna be very weak and what we call under extracted because it won't have taken out enough as it passes through the bed of coffee. On the opposite side, if you're too fine, you'll be in contact with the coffee for too long. And what that will do is it'll start taking out, like it'll start with taking out all the stuff that you want, right? All that really good, sweet, really complex coffee flavors. But the problem is it won't stop there because it will be passing through the bed of coffee so slowly that it goes even further past that good stuff that you want and starts taking out things that you don't want. You'll get more bitter flavors. You'll get a very, very heavy body. You'll get kind of just like astringent, bleh. It's not good. And if you meet somewhere in the middle, you find yourself in a good grind setting, it will pass through slowly enough to actually extract the stuff out that you want, but fast enough that you're not sitting in that bed of coffee and just letting it kind of turn into... All right, let's demonstrate. I've got a hot water kettle that is all ready to go. I've got the origami brewer, and I've got some filters. I will just show you a little demonstration. I'm not gonna brew an actual cup, but I'll show you a demonstration of how water reacts to each of these different grind levels. Okay, let's start with coarse. As you can see, this moves really quickly through that bed of coffee. Drains really fast. And even what we end up with is like this very light, very watery looking coffee. Next, we're going to move to the opposite end of the spectrum with a very, very fine grind. Now, in theory, this should go much, much slower. That was moving so slowly that I won't lie to you, I just got impatient and my ADHD kicked in, and I just pulled it because it was going way too slow. And look, it's much, much darker in color than the coarse one. And honestly, doesn't smell very good, and very, very likely does not taste good. Finally, we will pour into that grind setting that was more in the middle. As you can see, it's moving at a more steady pace, not too slow, not too fast. So that is how grind setting will affect your dial. But if I want you to take away anything from this video, it's this. Your grind setting is a tool, not a rule. What it comes down to is, how does it taste? Like, that is the one rule in coffee, is good flavor. So use the grind setting and what you've learned to achieve the flavor that you are looking for. Is it too bitter? The grind is probably a little too fine. It's taking too much out of the coffee and over extracting it. Is it sort of like sour and too light in body? It's probably a little too coarse. You're not taking enough out. Use the grind setting to find what you are looking for. And also, with tools in mind, grind setting is just one tool. You got a whole toolbox, friend. All right? Try other things. Try your dose. What's the ratio you're going for? The industry standard is like 16:1. That's what most coffees will taste good at. But man, I've had coffees that are way better at like 13 or 14:1, that are like a little bit, quote unquote, stronger brew. It's just, everything is subjective. Flavor is subjective. What are you going for? Mess around with things until you find and achieve your flavor. Anyway, if you want more videos like this, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're gonna be doing a bunch of different, coffee content. Tutorials, I don't know, other stuff. Anyway, go drink coffee, enjoy yourself, enjoy the coffee, and we'll see you next time.